We witnessed a barn burner in game 1.
Sure did.
The Lobos, the number 15 seed, defeating the Timberwolves in an overtime thriller. And how can this game follow it up?
Got a lot of star power on the court for this one.
And that's an instant steal by number 8, Anthony McDaniel, for the Generals. Here's Paul Schulte, player coach, dishes it down low. Here's Corey Rossi, and he banks it in to open up the account.
Great opening offensive possession. Corey Rossi with the easy basket.
Anderson on the dish. Here's Gigliotta, just a tad short. Your starters for the Generals, it's Anthony McDaniel, Paul Schulte, Samuel Armas, Corey Rossi, and Matthew Alvarez. Alvarez played in the juniors last weekend, so good to see him get Division I experience as well, as that shot is too strong by McDaniel. A lot of young talent brewing in the NWBA. There's also Ashton Knowles, who made the finals of the juniors as he squared off with the Brooks Bull Sharks, squared off against the Lakeshore Lakers, a game which they ended up losing. And Paul Schulte, nothing but the net. Generals with a quick 4-0 lead. Here's Jankowski. He's on the floor with Kevin Grant, Patrick Anderson, Fabricio Shao, and Joseph Gigliotta. Those are Kevin Grant's starting 5 for New York. Grant, just a tad short. This Generals team has sure had an interesting tale as Schulte misses the 15-footer. Matt, they defeated the number 4 ranked team in the country, the Golden State Road Warriors. And it's in the fashion that they did it that truly is noticeable. And one for Joseph Gigliotta. First personal foul on Matthew Alvarez, first team foul. But here you see Gigliotta gathering and finishing.
It's a tough finish, you know. That's a tough way to get to the basket, and to flip it up like that, it's incredible.
The skill to do it high off the glass and a little bit of English on it.
Absolutely.
Swishes the free throw. 1-point Generals lead here to open up the first quarter. Now, speaking of the Generals, the way they beat the Golden State Road Warriors is by the hustle plays. They got every extra rebound. When the ball was loose, they were always the first one on it. And they forced this Warriors team to make mistakes you normally don't see them make.
And that's what it takes in an upset, right? Having to do those little things, putting in that extra effort, that extra will, forcing turnovers, extra possessions, and things like that. That's how you pull off upsets.
Now, I was on that game, and I wouldn't say beside myself, but I was speechless with the performance they were putting in, and they were such underdogs, as that's a nice bucket for New York.
Pat Anderson, you know, what the young kids say, he's goated, and, you know, he proved it there on that possession.
Patrick Anderson coming off 28 points versus the reigning champions, the Dallas Wheelchair Mavericks. They just couldn't stop him shooting anywhere, as that's a nice feed down low to Samuel Armas. The Generals sharing the basketball early. They have 3 scores each with 2 points. Here's Gigliotta looking to turn the corner. Finds Jankowski. open, just a tad short. Here comes Rossi. He's got to his spot. Well defended by Grant. As referee Corey Stepp, LaCorey Stepp with the whistle. Our referees today, Corey Stepp, Sue Sowers, as well as Chris Nuanez, your 3 referees today. So a jump ball will be called. It's going to be Generals basketball. Shot clock at 20. So when the offensive team gets the ball back after an offensive possession, shot clock goes to 20. But if it changes possession to the other team, it goes back up to 30. Similarly to the NBA, with 24 seconds, it goes up to 14, as that is pure for Paul Schulte, who has his shooting stroke on lock to get it started in the first quarter. Generals by 3 as we're approaching the halfway point of the first quarter. Shao, extra dish. Grant had a tough contest on that one by Rossi. And here comes Rossi on the push down the middle. Fake the deep 2. Anderson shuts him down. Schulte down low. Here's Armas for 2. The Generals with a hot start to open up the first quarter, looking to bounce back after their loss versus the Mary Free Bed Pacers, who have been on a tear, to say the least. The Mary Free Bed Pacers, one of the teams to look out for in the tournament.
Yeah, we'll see them later this afternoon on this court.
Anderson fading over 2 defenders, but that does not matter. Patrick Anderson sees a shot, and he'll make sure he likes it. But there's one that he never dislikes. Rossi to answer. Here's Anderson. Tries to run a 2-man game with Shao. Schulte switches on him. Here's Grant. Knocks it down from the foul line. Excellent offensive set by the Knicks. They'd use the 2-man game on the left side, and that just gave Grant the open lane down the middle. Schulte down low. Armas. Jankowski snags the rebound for New York. Matt, what have you seen so far?
You know, such a star player like Pat Anderson, you know, the defense is going to, you know, they're going to want to funnel. They're going to try to stop him, and that should leave open opportunities for other players.
As Gigliotta called for his first personal, team's first, and there's Anderson using his length, leaning back. And the bank is open for Pat as he leads all. New York scores with 4. Anderson gets a hand on it. Gigliotta tips it ahead, but it's recovered by Armas for the Generals. Six seconds on the shot clock. Here's McDaniel, a deep 2. Ball comes bouncing over the backboard, and it's going to be New York basketball. We've soon played the full stretch of the first quarter, neither team using a substitution yet. Anderson in one fluid motion, fails to convert. That would have given the Knicks a 1-point lead. Schulte, open, book it with the purest of swishes.
He's feeling good from that mid-range right now.
And he had so much space to get that shot off, and when the player's feeling it, he has to be the first man you're looking at.
And he wouldn't be the guy leave open.
And here's another guy you don't want to leave open, Patrick Anderson. Feeds it across. Here's Jankowski. Beautiful dish down low to Gigliotta. Joseph Gigliotta cutting from the wing down to the basket. But what a beauty from Kyle Jankowski.
A great pass to an even greater shot.
Schulte again puts it in. Paul Schulte, welcome to the semifinals here in Richmond. What a clinic to open up the first quarter. He sits at 8. Whistle blown on the floor against Paul Schulte. That's his first personal, team second. And look at the pass, threading the needle, and the nice adjustment by Gigliotta. Three total fouls among both of the teams. The Generals have 2, one on Matthew Alvarez, one on Paul Schulte. The Knicks with 1. Joseph Gigliotta has 1 personal. Here's Anderson, too far left. Compared to the game we saw just earlier between the Lobos and the Timberwolves, the pace on this game, Matt, a lot more slow, you would say.
Yeah, both teams just trying to develop that half-court offense.
Schulte, can he do it again? Finally seems human. He's been money from that right elbow area all game, but sometimes you just don't get the power you once thought you would. Generals by 3, 40 seconds remaining in the first, and Generals by 1. Kyle Jankowski with the high arcer along the left baseline. Shot clock turned off. A 3. In and out. Rossi had a good look. And those are the shots that are demoralizing.
Wow, and that's just a great find there. And look at that high arcing shot, huh? Just drops right in.
That's scraping the American flag right up by center court. Rossi off the back iron and out. 0 for 2 in 2 consecutive possessions. 7 seconds remaining for the Knicks. Down by 1. Here's Gigliotta, will heave it, as that will do it for the end of the first quarter. NWBA action brought to you by Markle, who congratulates our community of champions and is proud to sponsor the 2025 Adult and Junior Division Wheelchair Basketball National Tournament. Committing to put people first is what helps us all win together. Generals by 1, and we'll be back for the start of the second quarter.
What would you say to that freshly injured veteran looking to get involved in adaptive sports?
I found my outlet through wheelchair basketball.
A lot of us are used to, having weapons in the military. Now Formax is our new M16.
It's our new battle buddy. Once they find a chair that suits them, anything's possible.
When you understand the ins and outs of a chair or your weapon, you're unstoppable.
Matt Torres alongside me. My name is Max Cates. Honored to bring you all NWBA action here in Richmond, Virginia. Paul Schulte with a heater in the first quarter, leading the way for the Generals with 8 points. Anderson trying his luck for New York out of the huddle and just misses left. James Cook coming off the bench, now getting his first minutes. He's along the floor with Armas, Rossi, Schulte, and Alvarez. Schulte receives it, takes a difficult fadeaway, and he puts it in, and the foul. I was a little confused. I thought there was another call on the floor, but Schulte says 2 defenders isn't enough. You're going to need the entire county guarding me.
That's a great pass by Rossi there over to Schulte, who's been money right now from the mid-range game. Another high arcer, huh?
Another high arcer. Fabricio Xiao, from my viewpoint, looks like he had the contact on his elbow. And Schulte fails to convert. But he is the first player to hit double figures, and we have just started the second quarter. Anderson, a deep ball to Grant. Jankowski to the cutting Gigliotta, who will now go to the foul line. Corey Rossi called for his first personal, team's first. So both teams trade opportunities to the foul line to open up the second quarter.
Yep.
Joseph Gigliotta already hit 1 free throw earlier today. This is now his second trip to the line.
In a game like this, every free throw counts, every point counts.
Gigliotta feeling it with this shot so far. He leads all New York scorers with 7. And it's the way that he's been getting those points. When his shots are falling from mid-range, it just makes his cuts so much more dangerous. As Schulte, she gets pressured in the corner, finds Armas, he'll take, misses off the glass. Xiao tried to find Anderson, batted away by Armas. Armas will take again. Same results. 0 for 2 from the same spot here in the second quarter. Gigliotta sends a bullet to Xiao. Couldn't get the angle. Pace gradually increasing. Here come the Generals with Armas at the helm. Finds Schulte. Just a one-handed shot. That fails to go in. And both teams struggling to score after both of their trips to the foul line. Jankowski, another high arcer, this time from the right side of the floor. Knicks with a 1-point lead, 7.5 remaining in the second quarter. Open, just short by Cook. Now we're starting to see both teams starting to settle into the second quarter.
Absolutely. It feels like the Knicks, they were missing a few shots to start, but, they've definitely found a little bit of a groove here.
Because they're getting the looks as Grant gets the shooter's touch to drop.
And we talked about it, a little earlier about how defenses are going to key in on Pat Anderson there, and it's going to leave some wide open opportunities for other players.
And Kevin Grant so far has hit 2 shots from the same spot. And when the Knicks have range like this, and speaking of range, Paul Schulte, doesn't matter where he shoots from, it feels like everything's going in. Sitting at a dozen. 19-18, Knicks lead, 6.5 remaining in the second quarter. Jankowski has it. Misses from the left side. Rebound falls into the hands of Grant. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Here's Anderson. He's only made 2 shots so far today, but He's really attempted quite a few of them, but you know that the Generals have to respect it. Schulte calls for the screen, finds Armas, dishes it down low, beautiful ball movement. Cook couldn't finish. You see all the attention grab towards Schulte on the left side. It was a 2-on-1 on the right side.
Yeah, you got to, finish those opportunities when they're keying in on your star player.
And this is what the Generals have been doing so incredibly well, is sometimes using Schulte as a decoy. As Gigliotta takes a tumble down off from his chair. There you see Grant knocking that one down. Gigliotta asking for a quick substitution, probably something about his chair. Omar Benitez, the second bench player from the Knicks, now checking in. Derek Stewart, number 3, is the only one who hasn't played yet for New York. And there's Armas off glass. These teams are trading baskets as we're approaching the halfway point of the second quarter. Now this has looked like the matchup we saw between the Lobos and the Timberwolves. Foul will now go against Samuel Armas, his first personal, team second. Luckily, neither of the starters are in foul trouble. 4 of them have 1. Schulte has 1. Armas just committed his first. Rossi with 1. Alvarez with 1. New York have 2 total fouls throughout the game. Fabricio Shao has 1. Joseph Gigliotta with 1 as well. That's a nice bucket from New York as they take back the 1-point lead.
Yeah, a great look, great mid-range jump shot there from Pat Anderson.
And Pat Anderson sitting now at 6 points, starting to heat up for New York.
Good pass.
And that's a phenomenal cut. Matthew Alvarez played at the juniors last weekend and has proved he can deliver at the Division I adult level as well.
Yep, showing he can play with the big boys on a stage like this.
What an impressive talent we have on our hands. Just like many we've seen in the junior level, some of the best junior players are capable, and here's Grant feeling it. All 3 of his makes have been from the same spot.
He's got his sweet spot, huh?
That's something they need to key up on. Speaking of the Generals, here's Armas, and he knocks down the banker. Now back-to-back makes for Armas on the same spot. He now sits at 8.
And you're really starting to see the offense pick up between both teams.
24-23 your score. Pace being increased. Schulte snags it, and the Generals will have the basketball. Fabricio Shao now called for his second personal for New York. Team second, and there's the spin, the dish, and Alvarez says, I'll take it myself. NWBA action brought to you by Performex. Semi-final Saturday on our hands. On this specific court, court 16, this is game 2 out of 5. As Armas misses from the back iron. With the way this game is going, Matt, we could have another potential overtime.
Oh, don't say that magic word. It's too early, huh? We're in the first half.
Well, we've had the recipe for it, to say the least. Back and forth among both teams. A 2-possession lead at most.
No, you love close games, and you love them more when your stars are playing at their best.
Schulte puts it in. Paul Schulte gone nuclear here in Richmond. 14 points as we need a timeout on the floor.
Wow, and if you just look at this basket, I mean, that mid-range has been working for him all game, and you see it here in this one. Look at that high arcing shot.
the follow through the match, and he just turned around because he knew that one was good. Generals by 3, 2.5 minutes remaining in Richmond.
What would you say to that freshly injured veteran looking to get involved in adaptive sports?
I found my outlet through wheelchair basketball.
A lot of us are used to, having weapons in the military. Now Formax is our new M16.
It's our new battle buddy. Once they find a chair that suits them, anything's possible.
When you understand the ins and outs of a chair or your weapon, you're unstoppable.
Paul Schulte, Paralympian, NWBA Hall of Famer, bucket getter, leading the way for the Generals with 14 out of the team's 26 points, as the Generals have a 3-point lead as we're approaching the end of the first half.
Yeah, it feels like the last few minutes the offense has picked up for both teams, and the star players are hitting the shots, and that's all you can ask for.
The Stars have arrived in Richmond. Patrick Anderson has been scoring the ball well, but playmaking has been his main factor against the Generals. He takes what the defense gives him, and he playmakes to perfection. New York almost turned it over, and Jankowski with the swish. He's really gotten that range down from that right side of the baseline, like that 10 to 15 footer. Doesn't seem like it's any problem for him. He knows his role.
Yeah, and if you're the Knicks, you need, some of those role players to step up and get some baskets.
Schulte again. Same result for Paul Schulte as he has 16 points, putting on a shooting clinic.
In fact, he hosted a clinic last weekend during our junior division weekend, with his company Top End Sports.
That's the least surprising thing I've heard, as Schulte comes up with the block and saves the possession. Throws a one-handed dart to Rossi as Anderson looks to pressure. And the Generals need a quick timeout. We'll take a look at the replay, Matt.
Yeah, and if you look at this replay here, again, Janikowski, doing his role, hitting his jumper, high arcer at that. Nothing but the bottom of the net.
That's a quick timeout, as we'll keep this on the air for now. This is game 2 out of 5 on this floor here on semifinals Saturday. Hello, everybody. Matt Torres alongside me, Max Cates, welcoming all of you on air to some phenomenal wheelchair basketball action. This is the second consecutive year they've hosted this in Richmond, Virginia, and this place has been beautiful so far. You've been here a few times as well.
Yeah, it's an incredible facility. We've had so many different games, just so much action, so many fans, attendance, a lot of local outreach as well. It's been great being here.
What I love about this Henrico Sports and Events Center is that the floor is squeaky clean.
Yeah.
And when you look at this angle you have on the floor, not a single streak on the floor. And I think you really gotta commend the way this entire Sports and Events Center has been built. I mean, if you want to host multiple sports, you can host like 3 in the entire building, all at a high level, let alone hold an entire national tournament. We have all these courts being in use, and it's been held at such a phenomenal event. This is a beautiful venue. As New York moved the ball. Reverse layup missed by Gigliotta.
And just want to give a quick shout out to the folks at Richmond Region Tourism and Sportable. They've been incredible this entire weekend and the previous weekend for our junior division national championships.
What I also love about this is how accessible this tournament is. All walks of life gathered around one area. Being born and raised in Norway, I've spoken to some Scandinavians, and it's always fun to talk to people in your native tongue in places you never would have expected it. As Armas hits it off the glass. Samuel Armas, now the second Generals player in double figures. 26 combined points among Samuel Armas and Paul Schulte. 1 second difference between shot and game clock. Generals by 5. 16 seconds remaining. Aaron pass by Jankowski. Benitez couldn't get a handle on it. He said, yep, that one's on me.
And if you see here, the bank must be open for Sam Armas this morning because he continues to hit that bank shot from that left elbow.
And what a screen set by Matthew Alvarez, who's normally the #1 option in the juniors. 3 seconds left. Schulte down low, Armas, and he'll go to the foul line. LaCorey step with the whistle as Omar Benitez will call for his first personal, team's third in the dying seconds of the first half. And you needed this when you're the Generals to end this half on a good note. What a way to potentially get 3 points.
Yeah, there's no better, an opportunity to extend the lead going into halftime. You got to feel good about this opportunity here.
So when you're looking at the time, it's 10 minutes. This is supposed to represent the start of the third quarter. The buzzer sounded as Armas will hit the first foul line shot. So ignore the time. The score, however, is correct. Right after the free throws, we will be back with the start of the third quarter, which will be a little 10-minute interval. Misses the second, and that will do it. The Generals with a quick 6-point lead. Paul Schulte and Samuel Armas doing it all on offense for the Generals.
A great display of offense by both teams, in this first half of play.
And we will take it back for a short moment with the start of the third quarter here in Richmond, Virginia.
Formax signed me when I was 16 years old, before I accomplished anything in this sport. They were the first ones who believed in my capabilities, and I'll never be able to repay them for what they've given me. Not only from a product side of it, they believed in my potential before I even did. This is my way of giving back to their organization and their grassroots program that they're putting together here at DK's 3-on-3. It's just something I'm honored to be a part of. It's starting to get to that time where it's my turn to give back. If that means helping kids get to college, that's something I'd be interested in. If it's helping a D3 kid work really hard to get up to the championship level, that's something I'd be interested in. It's getting to the point where championships, gold medals, that's becoming less of a priority, but to give back to the sport that has given me everything in my life, if I have the opportunity to do that, I'm going to take advantage of it.
Returning with NWBA action here in Richmond, Virginia. It's semi-final Saturday in the matchup between the number 9 New York Rollin Knicks out of Floral Park, New York, and the number 13 WWAR Generals out of Pinellas Park, Florida. Hello, everybody. Matt Torres alongside me. My name is Max Cates. Welcoming all of you to wheelchair basketball action. This is day 2 out of 3 before we'll have Championship Sunday, where we will crown new champions on each of the 3 divisions. New York will have it with Jankowski missing the first trip. So Matt, the Generals with a 6-point lead, Paul Schulte and Samuel Armas have been doing the heavy load on offense.
Yeah, they put on a show in the first half, you know, holding a big percentage of what the Generals have scored on offense.
And in contrast, when we'll talk about the Knicks as Rossi hits that one off the back iron, the Knicks have been more balanced, to say the least. They have multiple players, 4 to say exact, all of them starters, 6 to 7 points each.
Yeah, and you know, defenses want to key in on Pat Anderson. They want to limit him. So for the Knicks to be able to spread out the scoring has been advantageous for them.
And everything has been running through Anderson, who has been kind of pigeonholed into playmaking more than what we've seen from him against Dallas, and where he scored nearly 30 against the reigning champs. And Samuel Armas looks to open up a second bank account, because the bank is always open for him.
Yeah, it must be a 24-hour bank he's at right now, because it's been open and working for him.
Anderson, beautiful cross-court feed, and there's Jankowski. The ball movement from New York, like clockwork.
Yeah, it's that ball movement that's got them in this position right now.
6-point Generals lead. We've soon approached 2 minutes played here in the third quarter. Here come the Generals, and it's going to be New York basketball. Jankowski, cross court, here's Anderson. Pressured heavily by Armas in the corner. Jankowski on the left side, down low to Gigliotta, intercepted by the Generals. Here comes Armas, a full head of steam, couldn't get the layup. Rare transition play we've seen from the Generals, who decided to pick up the tempo. And now an offensive foul going against the Knicks this time. So they trade fouls the same exact way. And now the Generals have a chance to extend their largest lead of the game at 6. Here's Rossi, picked up by Anderson. Armas again. Samuel Armas 2 for 2 to start up the third quarter. He's feeling it with 15 points. Gives the Generals their largest lead of the game, now at 8 points.
Great looking shot, but he didn't need the bank for this one.
How will New York try to answer? It's Gigliotta to the cutting Benitez.
Great job by Benitez there to cut and get to the hoop for the easy basket.
Gigliotta just forcing a scramble among the defense, and there's Benitez on the weak side, just punishing the non-existent rim protection down low. Shot is up, rattles in. Brent Garlick with his first 2.
And the Generals are going to need that. They're going to need some of that more balanced attack in the second half as the defense, you know, tries to slow down Schulte and Armas.
New York running a lot of screen actions on the left and the right elbows. It's been their bread and butter as Anderson with the swish. And he is somebody that can get hot in an instant, now scoring his 8th point of the game. Armas again misses off the back iron. Anderson, Gigliotta. Didn't have the proper angle. Schulte looks to make some magic for the Generals. And another offensive foul against the Generals, the second time this quarter. 5:03 remaining, Generals by 6. Their largest lead of the game was 8. But you got to give credit to this Generals team with what they've done so far. As you remember, in the first game, they knocked out the number 4 seed Golden State Road Warriors before eventually dropping a close one against the Mary Free Bed Pacers. This is a team that's playing well above their seeding.
Yeah, they're playing very well this tournament. Came very close yesterday to making a spot in the semis.
Rossi. His shot rattles in and out. Jankowski will take. And that's a foul going against Patrick Anderson. We had the perfect viewpoint on that one. Was a little late on the coverage.
And just looking at this replay here, wow, talk about a great find of Benitez there for an easy basket.
Yeah, he just drags 2 defenders towards him. And when you drag 2 defenders towards you, there's always going to be that weak side option. And give credit to Benitez knowing where he needs to be at the right time. Generals by 8, their largest lead of the game. 3:40 remaining in the third quarter. Both teams 1-1 heading into this matchup as referee LaCorey Stepp with the call. Samuel Armas now his second personal. Team's first here in the third quarter. Anderson, extra feed, Grant, count it, and 1 for none other than Kevin Grant. Cashes in on his 8th point of the game. Paul Schulte called for his second personal.
Great look there from Pat, and Grant, you know, he's been around that free throw line all day, and another shot fell, and he got the foul.
Yeah, he just can't miss from that 15-foot area at the center of the court. He's been making a living down there. He was on fire in the first, took his shots when he needed, and what's important is that he doesn't take that many. He needs to hit at a relatively low clip.
Yeah, and he's done a good job being efficient with the opportunities that he's had.
Schulte fails to score. The Knicks look to gather some momentum as we approach the end of the third. Anderson just failing to shake off Armas. Jankowski short from the right block. Rossi banks that one home with acres of space. That's his second field goal of the game, and something the Generals really needed after they conceded the and one opportunity by Grant. New York really using the wings of the perimeter to their advantage.
Yeah. Just trying to, let the offense kind of develop before taking a shot.
They take it. Armas snags the rebound. 2 minutes remaining. Generals by 7. Schulte with no hesitation. Well contested by Benitez. That was a heat check. He wanted that one immediately.
Yeah. No, he's been on fire all game, and, shooters are going to keep shooting, right?
You could wonder what else they would be doing other than shooting, and they need to play make, which is what Anderson, as he feeds a bullet, and there's Jankowski with his 10th point of the game.
Jankowski's had a very good game from mid-range this contest.
Yeah, he's really been that focal point, that second-hand man that you need when they're overloading on Anderson. And Anderson knows this. He's been sending a lot of great passes on the weak side wing, letting Jankowski shine in his role. Alvarez hits the deck. Ball will go to the Generals with a little bit less than a minute remaining here in the third quarter. Schulte beats the shot clock, didn't get the result. Benitez has it for New York. Anderson, a 3, got it. Patrick Anderson starting to come alive here in the end of the third. Cuts the Generals lead down to 1.
Big time basket by a big time player.
Armas can't answer on the other end. Referee LaCory Stepp says it's going to be Generals basketball.
And just look how he lines up. He takes the shot from center court. Nothing but net for the 3-time Paralympic gold medalist.
And the wheels were just perfectly square with the rim. 15 seconds left. The Generals will take Rossi. Misses that one. 10 seconds remaining in the third. The Knicks will look to tie or take the lead. Anderson, the dish. Gigliotta, no. Anderson back with the putback. Where would you be without him? Patrick Anderson gets his 13th point of the game, beating the buzzer to end the third quarter.
That was just a great pass initially, and then for him to pick up the rebound and get it right before the buzzer is awesome. And look, it's a tie game going into the fourth quarter.
The largest lead by the Generals, 8 here in the third quarter, cut down to 0. 10 minutes remaining, end-to-end action between the New York Rollin Knicks and the Wounded Warriors Ability Ranch Generals. As we also gotta thank our sponsors today, RGK Wheelchairs. RGK Wheelchairs and Sunrise Medical have been honoring athletes for over 40 years, as this commitment drives us to continually innovate and stay ahead in the game. We believe that imitation is the highest form of flattery, and we take pride in being recognized for our efforts. It is an honor for us to sponsor the NWBA and the 2025 NWBA Championships. In case if you missed this game so far, alongside me is the Matt Torres. My name is Max Cates, welcoming all of you to the action between the Knicks and the Generals. Relatively close heading into halftime. Paul Schulte and Samuel Armas controlling the load for the Generals, but it was the New York Knicks with a triumphant third quarter to erase an 8-point deficit, and now we're all tied up with 10 minutes remaining.
Yeah, and you got your star player, Pat Anderson. He scored the last 5 points to end the quarter. He hit the three-pointer, and then he had that putback layup to end things at the buzzer, and going to be an exciting finish to this contest.
New York ending the quarter probably as perfectly as you'd like. Schulte, the dish down low to Alvarez, a little short on the layup. The Knicks will look to get their first lead since the early stages of the first half. It's Grant, this time on the baseline. He says the center of the floor is mine, but I own real estate along the baseline.
Yeah, I was looking for him at the top of the key there, but great basket by Grant there, and the Knicks have the lead.
And who knows if this is something the Generals didn't expect, because when you run certain set plays, you want to keep things a little bit unpredictable. You run the same sets, but you have different players in different areas.
Yeah, and with the Knicks, you have so many options that you're able to do those kind of things.
Shot just missed by the Generals, and the Knicks look to take control early in the fourth quarter. They just snatched their second lead of the game. They had that first one in the first quarter, but it's been all Generals since. Gigliotta just weaving through the teeth of the defense, and the Generals catch a break. Rossi shielding off Gigliotta, dishes it to Schulte. Still struggles to put it in to start the fourth. He struggled a little bit towards the end of the third, hasn't been getting the results he's been wanting since the first half. But still, the Knicks really need to keep a body or two on him for the rest of this game.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, your star players, you definitely have to keep an eye on them, and especially in these moments in the fourth quarter.
Rossi forces the turnover. 8 minutes remaining here in the fourth quarter. Semi-final Saturday action here in Richmond, Virginia. Armas says, I'll do it myself. I don't need to use the guide hand. No. Samuel Armas, 17 points, leading all General scores.
Great job by Armas there, finding that open spot for a jumper.
We're all tied up, 7:43 left here in the fourth. Grant, left open, passes up the shot to Anderson, just turns into it and knocks that one down. Patrick Anderson, he'll go to the line. Foul against Brent Garlick of the Generals. First team foul by either team here in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, Pat's starting to get hot there. He's starting to take more of an onus on the offensive end, and you see it here. He's at the line.
James Cook and Anthony McDaniel checking in for the Generals. Brent Garlick and Matthew Alvarez will head on to the bench. I spoke to Patrick Anderson before the game. I asked him about the Dallas result and, you know, whether or not this team played the way they should have. And he said, yeah, we played the way we should have. We know we're better than what we are, but they're the national champions for a reason. They're big, they're strong, they're fast. As the bank is open for Samuel Armas. Just keeps piling it on for his 19th point of the game.
Yeah, he's having a great morning.
Gigliotta, as Gigliotta caught the defense sleeping. Ball took a bounce after the rebound, and it's going to be jump ball, and New York will have it. Gigliotta on the excellent recovery, forced the jump ball situation, which could have saved a possession for New York. The pass is intercepted by Schulte. And New York will have it yet again. A costly turnover for the Generals after what has been a phenomenal defensive effort for Paul Schulte. Schulte, his deep range two rattles in and out. Now we're seeing the pace slow down for the teams based out of Floral Park, New York, and Pinellas Park, Florida. Grant, the up fake. Jankowski will take, will make. Kyle Jankowski with the excellent two, but what a fake by Kevin Grant.
It's an awesome fake by Kevin Grant, and Janikowski again. You know, he's playing his role, and you know he's having a great game.
Knicks by 3. 6 minutes remaining here in the fourth. Schulte stops the bleeding. His first bucket in the second half.
Yeah, I'm sure that felt good for Paulie to see that get down.
Now sits at 17 points for the NWBA Hall of Famer. Anderson backs down, gets shut down by two black jerseys. They feed it. Gigliotta, Jankowski, back to Anderson, rolling back, but it was excellent defensive recovery by the Generals. You just see them move along the blocks down low, not giving an inch, and that's the defense you need down the stretch. Armas shot a little bit too strong from 5 feet. Anderson a heave, intercepted by Anthony McDaniel. Fabricio Shao for the Knicks, looking to check in. And now New York will be relying on a little bit more speed, as it's going to be timeout Generals. 4:30 remaining. The Knicks tied up at the end of the third. They have a 1-point lead in the fourth quarter. Knicks by 1, 4:30 remaining in the fourth quarter. Both the Knicks and the Generals 1-1 heading into this one. The Knicks looking to bounce back after their loss against the reigning champions, the Dallas Wheelchair Mavericks. While the Generals are looking to bounce back after their loss versus the Mary Free Bed Pacers, and that's a shot clock violation. Instead, it will be a foul against James Cook of the Generals, his first personal, team second. I thought it was a shot clock violation. I couldn't hear LaCorey Stepp's whistle, but Kyle Jankowski will go to the line, rocking the mullet and the stash. He looks like Max's brother from Stranger Things, doesn't he?
Absolutely. It works for him. It's a good look for him.
People can say mullet season is back. It never left.
No.
I don't think I could. I don't think I could pull that off.
1,000% I couldn't pull that off. It only work. It might only work for him.
Oh yeah, it definitely works for him. Knicks by 3. Jankowski having a phenomenal game, sitting at 14 points, being as efficient as ever from the mid-range. How will the Generals look to respond down by 3? Schulte has his shot well contested by Grant. He fails to save it, and New York will look to extend their 3-point lead. They've relied on Schulte a lot with his deep range twos, but at some point, maybe they need to switch it up because he hasn't been hitting them at the clip we're used to seeing from him in the first half.
Yeah, you may need Armis to continue to do what he's doing, but you may need that third option to help out offensively.
Jankowski, well contested by Armis. Here's Armis all alone on the other end, went too far under the basket and couldn't put it in. It's a scramble from both teams, and Gigliotta will spin past Rossi, dishes it to Shao, high off the window, hits the deck, offense to defense, and here comes the Generals with Paul Schulte for two.
Great job by the Generals there to get out in transition for an easy basket.
As he's been struggling throughout the entire second half, must be nice for him to see one go in, which has been the easiest look for him all game. 1 point difference. Knicks have it in the lead. Jankowski, Gigliotta couldn't have enough on it. Armis, open, misses from the foul line. Gigliotta the rebound for New York. 2 minutes remaining. Every possession matters for both of these teams, and they're both requiring perfect execution. It's Anderson, puts it in. Patrick Anderson, who else coming in clutch for New York as they're up by 3, 90 seconds remaining in the fourth.
And that was a great shot there by Pat Anderson, especially in a spot like this. This is when you need your stars to come out and shine.
Leaning back as New York will look to make a quick substitution. You can see the Knicks players waving in Benitez. And Shao with tape in his hand. He's still on the floor. So they wave in Benitez. Shao rolls off. Now New York will have to rely on rebounding and size. They switch a guard for a big man. Armis gets the touch. Samuel Armis with 21 points. Him and Paul have combined for 41. These two putting on an absolute clinic on one of the biggest stages in wheelchair basketball, as that's going to be New York basketball. A minute remaining, Knicks by 1. Limited possessions left for both teams. Benitez gets his own offensive rebound. And Anderson has it for New York. 3-second violation. A huge break for the Generals, who are down by 1. 46 seconds remaining in the fourth.
Yeah, and if you look here at this replay, look at Sam Armis. He's, you know, it's been a two-man crew this afternoon for the Generals here.
Schulte, 3 white jerseys on him. It's Armis. Good recovery by Gigliotta. And a foul will now be called against the Generals. LaCorey Step heading over to the scores table, asking how many team fouls there are in the fourth. After this one, on my notepad, I have 3, which is in fact the most fouls the Generals have committed in any quarter this game. They had 2 on the first 3 quarters. Now here's the third one. So if the Generals do decide to foul since the shot clock is turned off, 1 more foul to give. So the New York Knicks will play keep away, while the Generals will just try and burn their last foul to give. But it's the possession after.
Yep.
Who do the Knicks go to in this situation?
I think you have to go to your star, right? You got to go to your Paralympic gold medalist in this situation, and, you know, there goes the foul.
Paul Schulte will commit that one, his 3rd personal. Now, 4th team foul. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Jankowski received it. Granted, he went 2 for 2 from the line his last trip.
Yeah, that's true. Knowing that, you know, everyone's expecting Pat to get the ball in this situation, so it'd be a good opportunity for Jankowski to kind of slip open.
21.9 remaining. Knicks by 1. We know the Generals are going to foul. The question is who? They find Anderson, and Schulte will commit his 4th personal. Last foul to give for the Generals. So LaCorey Step is talking to the scores table, asking about how many fouls Paul Schulte has. He has 4 personal, and the question was whether or not he has 5. Referee LaCorey Step checking with multiple sources. He looked into my notes. I thought he had 4. I didn't see anything else. Went to the scores table. That may have been a different answer. And now we went to the Generals bench to try and get some answers there, as we're going to have a quick timeout. The scenario at hand is 20 seconds remaining. Patrick Anderson with 2 huge free throws to try and give the Knicks the win. And the question right now is whether or not Paul Schulte is supposed to be fouled out of the game.
Yeah, big decision here that needs to be made by the officials, whether or not, you know, Paul is able to continue in this game or not.
You have the play-by-play? Do you have fouls on it? Right here, right? 14. We're at 4. I'm gonna take this one.
So all 3 referees just talking, trying to figure out what the correct call will make, and it's a huge one for the clutch shot making that we've seen from Paul Schulte. As they're still looking for a decision to be made. Well, you know what you got to say when you're trying to get the right source. You need 2 or more people to tell you the same thing. Right now we have 2 different results, but 3 different sources. You see both teams in their huddles, all smiling, talking, enjoying a phenomenal tournament here in Richmond, Virginia. Joseph Gigliotta having a nice game right in front of us. has been doing all the dirty work, to say the least, making the right reads when necessary. As LaCorey Step looks to get more backup on the call. So they're going to have to go by the official book. And Paul Schulte has now committed his 5th personal foul. Glad we finally came to a resolution. Maybe I have missed something. Maybe the scorebook has missed something.
So the official book has 5 fouls.
So LaCorey Step explaining it as perfectly as possible. We have to go by the scorebook. And now this could be huge down the line because it took so long to try and find the answer. Anderson may not be in a proper rhythm.
Yeah.
Missed the first free throw and makes the second. So Patrick Anderson now sitting at 19 points. Generals need a 3 to win to the tie. 19 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter. Joseph Gigliotta of the Knicks asked the scores table, how many fouls do we have in this quarter? I had 0. He asked the scores table. They said 0. So they have multiple fouls to give. That's for the Knicks, by the way. Knicks with 0. The Generals with 5. So the Knicks have multiple fouls to give. So right now it's all about when they time on making that foul. And you got to give credit to the Knicks for not even fouling. They go for the quick 2. Armis just forces it in. Shot clock running down. And a timeout called by New York. 3.2 remaining. 53-53 is your score. And what a play by Samuel Armis.
Wow, a tough shot by Armis down low in the paint. Very critical time for the Generals. Look at that shot.
He even got fouled on that play.
Yep.
But sometimes when you're in this situation on these type of 50-50 calls, do you make the whistle or not? That's the big question. But when it's that obvious, in my opinion,
a foul's a foul, right?
The way I saw it, yeah, it was covered by 3 players, and you could see his arm was motioning, moving, going through a lot of contact, and even got hit on the shooter's arm here. That's just from what we saw in the replay, in my opinion. And Samuel Armas, under pure duress through contact, puts it in for, tying it up with 8 seconds remaining.
Man, he's had such a great game, and that might be his best basket of the contest.
Toughest one, to say the least. Both teams break the huddle. 8 seconds remaining for both of the teams. It's going to be New York basketball, Shao to inbound. Now Anderson will now look to inbound. Will we witness a second consecutive overtime game? 8 seconds to find out. It's Jankowski, down low to Gigliotta, who loses handle of the ball. And a timeout will be called for the Generals. He had the look. He had the look. Just couldn't catch it. And the Generals, down by 2 with 20 seconds remaining, force the tie, and now they have a chance to win it all.
Yeah, if you're the Generals, you feel like you call a timeout, you're on your side of the court, gonna have an opportunity to win this thing.
He just couldn't grab it with that right hand to just stabilize the pass. 2.2 seconds remaining. We both know who should have the ball, but he's unfortunately not on the floor.
Yeah, and you have to think the Knicks are going to key on Armas here, who's had a really good morning shooting the ball.
McDaniel, Armas, back to McDaniel. Don't think he even got it off in time either. Second overtime game in Richmond, Virginia, between the Knicks and the Generals. 53-53 is your score. We'll be back after a short moment.
What would you say to that freshly injured veteran looking to get involved in adaptive sports?
I found my outlet through wheelchair basketball.
A lot of us are used to, having weapons in the military. Now Formax is our new M16.
It's our new battle buddy. Once they find a chair that suits them, anything's possible.
When you understand the ins and outs of a chair or your weapon, you're unstoppable.
Overtime action here in Richmond, Virginia. Semifinal Saturday in the matchup between the WWAR Generals and the New York Rollin Knicks. Drama, to say the least, to end the fourth quarter. Armas with the clutch bucket with a few seconds remaining through contact got us to this point. And we have 5 more minutes left to find a definite winner. No Paul Schulte for the Generals in this overtime period.
It's going to be a tall task for the Generals to find some offense in this overtime period.
Missed by Jankowski. Armas gets fouled, and he'll go to the line. Fabricio Shao not happy with the call. His 3rd personal. Now New York's first here in the overtime period. So they do merge fourth quarter fouls and overtime fouls. And here's Armas now on the line, having a fantastic semifinal Saturday, to say the least. And with the shooters touch the match, he's the game's MVP so far for the Generals.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even forcing the game into overtime with that really tough layup in the final seconds.
He should probably open multiple bank accounts with how many times he's hit it off the glass. Yet another soft free throw that goes in for his 25th point. And I really love it when shooters take a free throw or any shot and it just bounces a few times, because it proves how soft that touch is, and the shots that people normally miss, they end up going in.
Yep.
Jankowski tried to find Gigliotta under, but here comes Rossi flying for the jump ball. He took off like a jet engine for that play. Generals by 2, a minute played in overtime. And they're going to look to get every single advantage they can without their best player. Armas is going to have to carry the scoring load or make the necessary buckets, as that shot is strong by McDaniel. Anderson puts it in. Patrick Anderson ties it up at 55. The Knicks on the board in overtime. You can see court 16 swarmed on the right side, and there are quite a few audience members under the baskets as well. Alvarez, big shot! Matthew Alvarez, who suited up for Junior Nationals last week, comes up huge for the Generals in overtime, puts them back up by 2.
Very big offensive possession for the Generals there. They needed another option with Paulie on the bench right now.
Ice in Alvarez's veins, and what a moment to get your second field goal of the game. Over 2 defenders, it's Patrick Anderson. 2 for 2 in overtime. McDaniel, Armas. McDaniel fights for the offensive rebound. Do the Generals have more left in the tank to produce in overtime? It's Cook, offensive rebound, Rossi rolling in the perfect slot as the Generals get the 2-point lead.
Yeah, he was in the right place at the right time for that offensive board and put back.
His chair skills, phenomenal, and he can turn from 0 to 100 in an instant. Jankowski, too much on it. Rossi with the huge rebound. The Generals look to play for time. Rossi asks for the screen. Shao switched on him. 17-footer off the back iron. 50 seconds remaining. Offensive foul against the Knicks. Fabricio Shao, 4th personal foul. Just the 2nd New York team foul in overtime. And you also have to credit the Generals for not fouling despite being in the limit.
Yep, absolutely. You see the missed shot here, and just look at Ross. You just kind of slip right in there for the easy board and the putback. Big shot.
Just enough English. Generals with a 2-point lead, 48.7 remaining here in overtime. 2nd consecutive overtime game here in semifinal Saturday.
What would you say to that freshly injured veteran looking to get involved in adaptive sports?
I found my outlet through wheelchair basketball.
A lot of us are used to, having weapons in the military. Now Formax is our new M16.
It's our new battle buddy. Once they find a chair that suits them, anything's possible.
When you understand the ins and outs of a chair or your weapon, you're unstoppable.
The drama soon to be unfolded between the Generals and the Knicks. Generals have it up by 2. 40 seconds remaining in overtime. And Rossi will look to reset. McDaniel open. Couldn't get his offensive rebound. And it's going to be New York basketball. Shot clock turned off. 26.8 remaining. And New York will look to rise up and either tie or take the lead with one last possession. Anderson across to Gigliotta. And it's a 3-on-3 so far for the Knicks. Gigliotta, 10 seconds remaining. Finds Anderson, 5 seconds. Anderson puts it in!
Big time shot.
Superman has returned, and he wears number 12 for New York. Patrick Anderson, 25 points, and this game is not over just yet.
That's a big time shot there by your Paralympic gold medalist there. Look at him, just knowing the shot clock, the game clock's going down right off the bank. And we got double overtime now.
The first double overtime here in Richmond, Virginia in the Adult National Tournament. 59-59 is your score. There we are on the screen. Matt Torres alongside me. My name is Max Cates. When the drama was unfolding, it finds a way to increase back up, and the pressure is mounting on both of these teams.
Yeah, it's been a battle for 4 quarters, and now we're going into our second overtime period. And these are fun games at a tournament like this on this feature court. The whole country watching. It's just been a great contest from both squads.
Now I kind of feel bad for saying, with the way this game is going, it could be overtime. I didn't expect it to flip it on me and turn into double overtime. But we have seen clutch buckets, tough plays by both of these teams. And now we have 5 more minutes of wheelchair basketball drama. The third opening tip between the Generals and the Knicks. Both of these teams deserve a well-needed rest after this one. But I think they have another game to play after this.
Yeah, both teams definitely have another game after this later on this afternoon.
They better get that icy hot ready to go. Grant on the miss. Anderson pushes for the offensive rebound. Anderson, same spot where he forced double overtime. Too strong. Armas resets it to Rossi. Aaron pass by Grant off the wheels of Shao. The speed of Rossi with the patience and the layup.
Great job by Rossi there to chase that ball down and get himself squared up for the easy layup.
Huge play by Corey Rossi. Puts the Generals up by 2. Has been instrumental on all parts of the floor late in this stretch. Jankowski open, puts it in.
Much needed shot there by Jankowski, and that high arching shot to tie the game up in double OT.
That high archer has been huge for the Knicks as they tie it up at 61. 3 minutes, 5 seconds remaining in double overtime. McDaniel had the follow through, couldn't convert it. Jankowski again, puts it in again. Kyle Jankowski, back-to-back buckets for the Knicks. The double overtime lead they once lost, they have regained again. 2.5 remaining. Armas gets fouled on the shot, and he'll go to the foul line. Kevin Grant, his first personal. The Knicks is third.
And you see the chase down there, picking up the loose ball, turns around, gets himself squared up for the easy layup for Rossi.
What hustle play. Sometimes you don't know whether or not to give up on those kinds of plays, but he went all hustle, all muscle. And he's a really fast player on that chair. He knew he was getting that one. Armas splits the pair from the line. Despite being in a pressure situation, Anderson looks really comfortable as Jankowski misses too far to the left, because sometimes you may be a little bit shaken, a little bit of nerves. He just looks like he's relaxed, just playing another game with his friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
National tournament after all. Who wouldn't feel pressure in these situations?
Yeah, especially in a game like this that's gone this long in double overtime.
Rossi had too much on it. Jankowski back up to Grant. Here's Anderson. Grant, he's been money from this spot, and he keeps cashing in the check on the center of the floor. Kevin Grant with 13 points, and the Knicks with a 3-point lead.
Great job by Grant getting to a sweet spot for an easy basket.
Rossi a three. Offensive rebound saved by Cook, but recovered by New York. Biggest possession of the game now for New York, who will look to bleed the clock and hopefully score and make it a 2-possession game. Jankowski, Gigliotta, Anderson, 1 second, puts it in. Patrick Anderson under the basket with a difficult angle.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure how he got it up. His back was turned.
The Generals need to move fast. No whistle called on Armas. And referee Chris Nuanez with the call.
Wow, if you look at this replay here, this is an incredible basket. Look at this entire sequence here. He grabs the ball. I can't even really see. He's got his back turned.
Just a flick of the wrist. Big drama here in Richmond in the Enrico Sports and Events Center. Double overtime. And when you need him the most, Patrick Anderson delivers. Puts the Knicks up by 5. 16 seconds remaining here in double overtime. NWBA action brought to you by Performax. My name is Max Cates. Alongside me is Matt Torres, bringing you all the wheelchair basketball action. Well, you said this is your debut on color commentary. This has to be quite the impression.
Well, yeah, we kicked it off this morning with an overtime, and now we get a second overtime. So it's been quite the experience, but a very fun one, and thank you for having me on.
Always nice to have you on. You've been phenomenal to work with throughout last year as well, throughout this year as well. And it's nice to see that you're willing to expand within this wheelchair basketball realm as Jankowski gets fouled. So Kyle Jankowski with 2 free throws will look to end it for the New York Rollin Knicks, who's had a phenomenal game heading to this point. Makes the first one. 68-62 is your score. Seven-point lead for the Knicks. You can hear the Knicks bench say, "Don't foul." Rossi will have to take a deep one, out one short, and that should be it. The New York Rollin Knicks will roll out of this game victorious, but this game could be enough to write a book about. The New York Rollin Knicks defeat the WWAR Generals 69-62. Patrick Anderson coming in clutch with 27 points. Kyle Jankowski with 19 and Kevin Grant with 13. Samuel Armas did all he could towards the end. He ended with 26. And Paul Schulte fouling out in the end of the fourth with 20. And the Knicks end up pulling it out.
An incredible performance by the Knicks to stay the course, to force overtime, to get to a second overtime, and just, I mean, Pat Anderson in the second half was unreal.
New York Superman is in the building, playing as phenomenal as he has all tournament. And that will do it for this one. Matt Torres alongside me. My name is Max Cates. Thanking all of you for tuning in to this thriller. But we have more wheelchair basketball coming up in a short moment.